The Winnipeg Jets have made multiple moves, including Nikolai Ehlers. We have some other moves surrounding their prospects, and a couple of these moves have Jets fans absolutely fired up. We're going to break down exactly what those moves are and discuss what it means going forward, as well as a couple of injury updates as we approach the end of December. Stay tuned for all that in this episode, but before we get into it, we are proud to announce that this video is brought to you by Rentals.ca, who are proud supporters of Team Canada. And while they've been supporting our national team defend their home court in international competition, they've also been helping thousands of Canadians find their home floor all across the country. And it doesn't matter what city you are in, whether you're in Toronto, whether you're in Vancouver, Montreal, Calgary, Halifax, it does not matter. Winnipeg, Mississauga, Edmonton, Victoria, St. John's, it doesn't matter where you are from coast to coast. Rentals.ca has a ton of options to find the perfect place and price for you.
Their website is clean and easy to use, and you can pinpoint exactly on the map where you want to move, finding all the options in your area. Find your home court with Rentals.ca.
Yeah, check out the website in the pinned comment or the description down below. And shout out to Rentals.ca for supporting our channel, supporting Team Canada, and supporting you guys for finding the best rentals across the country. So thank you guys again, and thank you to Rentals.ca for sponsoring this video. The Winnipeg Jets, there's a ton of moves that have been going down. We have a ton of updates. Obviously, Christmas is really close. The end of December is nearing, and there's a lot of updates surrounding the Jets, who are atop of the NHL. Let's dive into the first one here. So we're going to start with Dylan Coghlan. So he was put on waivers. This could be the move that makes room on Winnipeg's roster for Nikolai Ehlers if he's ready to go, and he is indeed ready to go. So you can see this here. There's another move, and in order to get Dylan Coghlan, they loaned him and Nikita Shibrikov to the Manitoba Moose. So Darius, we're going to start with this and then dive into the Ehlers stuff as well, something on Logan Stanley later. But I mean, Nikita Shibrikov has been very good for the Winnipeg Jets this year. I saw some Jets fans online on Twitter, Reddit, all these things, a bit upset about this move by the Winnipeg Jets because the player that they're calling up is, they just love what they saw from Shibrikov. Now, ultimately, he got sent down. He's still going to continue to develop. He's a very young player, but fans aren't necessarily super excited about the thought of Nikita Shibrikov being sent down.
No, from what I can tell, Jets fans are not happy with him being sent down, but it's a necessary evil, I think, with getting Nikolai Ehlers back, and we'll get to that in a second. But in terms of Dylan Coghlan as well, he gets sent down. He cleared waivers. There was some talk, over the last couple of days that he might get claimed. He didn't. He's going to be back with the Manitoba Moose, and he's going to play tonight. So that's a good sign, obviously, for the Jets organization to keep somebody like that around. And then again, Shibrikov, he's been fantastic, not just this year, but he's been almost a goal a game player in the NHL over his short NHL career. So again, he's going to go down to the Manitoba Moose. If there was a world where they could have kept him up and had Nikolai Ehlers in the lineup, I think they would have done that because he has been playing well. This is not something where he's being sent down because he's not playing well, right? Like, he played very well. He was creating chances. He's driving the net, stuff like that. So I think all Jets fans can agree that this is a player that they probably would have wanted to stick around, but it's a necessary evil at the end of the day to get a guy like Nikolai Ehlers back. And again, with the defense being mostly injured for the Winnipeg Jets in Tampa, Dylan Coghlan should be picked up on waivers, but he didn't. He goes down to the Manitoba Moose. And again, that's a good sign for the Jets organization to keep this guy around because injuries are going to happen. We're seeing it this year, right? Like Logan Stanley as well. He's going to be out for a significant amount of time. So a guy like Dylan Coghlan sticking around in the organization is good news for the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, and you can see, obviously, this person specifically is a Lightning fan. They thought that some Lightning people were going to play, the Lightning team, that is, of course, not be Lightning, we're going to pick up Dylan Coghlan. Didn't happen. It's 41 points in 61 AHL games for Dylan Coghlan. I think he got a bit of a short end of the stick on this front, but it's great for the Winnipeg Jets because he now has cleared waivers and is ultimately can go back down to the Manitoba Moose. And you can see this here. Dylan Coghlan is on waivers again, and he just seems like a guy who deserves a chance in the NHL. He seems to do quite well in some of the advanced analytics, but he and his line mates underperform their expected goals. So clearly the fans want Dylan Coghlan to have a chance. They want him to get an NHL opportunity, but the front office, Kevin Cheveldayoff, Scott Arniel, they aren't loving what they're seeing on the ice at the NHL level from Dylan Coghlan. And obviously the Jets are at a point now where they are going for a win now team, which ultimately, they called up Nikita Shibrikov, which we can dive into a little bit as well. Like you mentioned, he's been playing very well. He's going to get a chance to develop down in the AHL, continue some more. You can see this from Connor Habtrek. Defenseman Dylan Coghlan is in place on waivers. This opens up a spot for Nikita Shibrikov to potentially remain with the Jets even when Ehlers returns, which could be as early as tonight. And all signs are pointing to the Winnipeg Jets and, of course, Nikolai Ehlers nearing a return here. But any final thoughts on Nikita Shibrikov before we move on to Nikolai Ehlers? Because, again, he impressed us. We had videos on him. And it started with Brad Lambert. He didn't look phenomenal. He got sent down. You've seen Nikita Shibrikov come up and, put points in back-to-back games to start his NHL career here. So I understand the premise behind sending him down. You have to make room for people, and that's why they're sending these players down. But I would like to see him stick around for a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's just the roster spots and the salary cap that they're trying to juggle right now. I don't think it has to do with any of his play. Chibrikov has been good. For my money, I would keep him up with the team. I think he's injected a little bit of life back into the team because obviously, you have a lot of ups and downs over the course of the season. The Jets had very high ups earlier this season. And then, of course, we're going to get to their record in a second too in the schedule coming up. But, he injected some life into the lineup, some energy as well. So I like that you brought up Brad Lambert too. He has a high ceiling still. Like, he's going to continue to develop. Same thing with Chibrikov down in the AHL. He's going to continue to do his thing. And I think that, all Jets fans can see that, he's probably going to be back with the team at some point this year, with injuries happening all the time throughout the NHL, but he is a bright spot as well. So I think you're going to see him again this year, and moving forward, he's a guy that I think you can maybe start to rely on a little bit and could take on a little bit more of a role maybe next season.
Yeah. And I think Brad Lambert, obviously a highly touted prospect, especially a year or two ago, a couple of years ago, but now it's going to be interesting to see how he continues to develop down in the AHL. But regarding Nikolai Ehlers, he's speaking to Anaheim, the team's social media following through to loss. So we've got to hold each other accountable for what we're doing out there, and we're not doing that. So we've got some work to do. Also suggested they got what they deserved tonight. Now, this was obviously following their loss against Anaheim. It was on the second night of a back-to-back, so the team was looking a little bit flat. That being said, I love this leadership from Nikolai Ehlers. Obviously, he was dealing with an injury all season. He's looking really solid, and I'm excited to see how he continues to elevate this team. Like you mentioned, ups and downs. They started really good this season, one of the best start in NHL history. And then they had a bit of a downwards trend, but they've always bounced right back, and they're still at the top. I think they were as low as fifth best in the league, maybe. Let me clarify and fact check me if I'm wrong down below. I think it was fifth best in the league at their lowest point, which is still great, incredible. But now they're back up at the top of the NHL, and as you look at some of the things in their last 18 games, the Jets are 8-9-1. Over that time in 5v5, they are bad at a lot of the offensive metrics. They're not scoring enough, not generating enough at 5v5, and obviously getting Nikolai Ehlers back will certainly help with that. But we've been talking about the Mark Scheifele lingering injury we think and fans think is happening. The team hasn't been generating as much offense as they needed to. They should have beat the Anaheim Ducks. They're a much better team than the Anaheim Ducks, but clearly at this point their offense is scuffling heavily. You can see in the advanced analytics. It's also, you can see it in the eye test as well. And some of the only reasons they're 8-9 and were able to get 8 wins is because of course, Connor Hellebuck and how well he has played this season. So they need to figure it out. And I think Nikolai Ehlers, obviously, he came back against Anaheim, didn't look great, but he is going to continue to help. And as you look at the lines, I think they got to inject some life back into this offense. And Shibrikov did it for a bit, but the roster crunch is the roster crunch, and this lineup now is looking like it did at the start of the season.
And they need
on the offensive end, sorry.
On the offensive end, yeah, minus the defense, of course. They still need to get healthy there, and they're still juggling with a couple things there. And Colin Miller factors back in as well, but on the offensive side of things, getting Ehlers back into the lineup. Yes, they lost the other night, but you have a couple big games coming up against the Minnesota Wild and Toronto Maple Leafs, two of the better teams in the league, right? So you're going to have to get back on track and feeling good here right away because, again, if you look at the record over the last couple of games, not even the last couple of games, over the last 18 games, not necessarily the best, right? And bottom 7 in almost every category offensively. Nikolai Ehlers will help with that, I think, over, not just one game against Anaheim over the course of the next couple of games. So hopefully he does help with that. He was a bright spot early in the season. He adds another layer and a different level of offense to this team. So I think he's going to help in every category here that obviously they're bottom 7 in the league in. So hopefully he does for Jets fans' sake, because I think that's kind of not what they were waiting for, but I think that having him back is going to help the team inject a little bit more energy into the team over the course of the next couple of games. So it's going to be some tough opponents. The Jets got to play up to their opponents here. Obviously, a couple losses against some not great opponents, and since that great run at the start of the year, they've kind of been so literally playing 500 hockey, so they have to get back on track here.
Yeah, let us know down below what your thoughts are on all this. And, of course, we'll keep you up to date with all the latest Jets news. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.